Hello everybody. In this video, I'm going to be going over on how to simplify this statement we have here, this expression. Okay, so let's look. We have square root of 8 minus 4 times square root of 2 plus 1 plus the square root of 9 minus 12 times the square root of 2 plus 8. Okay, so how do we start? So first, let's worry about the first equation only, okay? Worry about this one first. So ideally, when we want to get rid of a square root, this inside needs to be something squared, right? Well, as you can see, it's not, in this state, we cannot find something the square root of this, right? So for that reason, there's this equation here that we can use. The equation is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared is equal to a minus b squared. So notice this, if we turn the inside into this form, like this, we can rewrite it as whatever a minus b is squared, which we could put under our square root. And then if we square root something that's squared, we'll just get rid of this exponent here if we square root it. Okay, so for now, let us just look at the inside. So let's just ignore the square root for a second. Let's just look in the inside. And we want the inside to look like this, okay? So as you can see, this equation has 3 terms, or this equation has 3 terms, and this one has 3 terms too. But however, this a needs to be squared. We don't have a square root here, or we don't have a square here. This needs to be squared, and there needs to be a 2 in front of here, okay? So how can we write 8 as a number squared? Well, we could do that by finding the square root of 8 and just squaring that. So I'm going to just write this as square root of 8 because 8 does not have a perfect square. It's just, this is its simplified form for now. Well, not simplified form, but this is how we can write it. So we have square root of 8 squared, which is how it fits here. So our a for now is square root of 8 minus, so I want to get a 2 here, so I'm going to factor out a 2 from 4 square root of 2. So the 2 can just be taken out of the 4, which will give me 2 in square root of 2, because this is the same thing as this. And then 1, if we square root it, 1 is just 1, so we can write 1 as 1 squared. Okay, so this already looks more similar to this equation. However, notice how this is a A and this is a A and this is a B and this is a B. This means that these numbers need to be the same. This number needs to be the same as one of these numbers, and this one needs to be the same as one of these numbers, which we clearly do not have yet. So what I'm going to do is rewrite the square root of 8. So square root of 8. So what we're allowed to do with square roots, we're allowed to multiply the insides of them. So I can turn the square root of 8 into square root of 4 times 2. And I'm allowed to separate the square roots from these. So I'm allowed to make this square root of 4 times square root of 2. And square root of 4 is what? Square root of 4 is 2 times, and we still have the square root of 2. So I'm going to rewrite this square root of 8 as 2 square root 2. So 2 square root 2. Remember, we still have the squared minus. Okay, so notice here that we have these two together, 2 square root of 2. And if we multiply together, this is what we get inside. So first, let me just write this 2, which is a constant in the equation. And now I'm going to write 2 square root of 2 as it's written here. So this is now our a. Okay, you may be thinking, we need a b, no? Where is our b? Where is our b? Well, our b, as you can see, is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. So our b is 1, and multiply by 1, you get the same thing. So we don't need to write the 1. You can write it if you want. I'll write it just to make it clear, but we don't need to write this, okay? But the 1 is our b, plus 1 squared. Okay, so now we have this equation in form of this. So all we need to do now is convert it to this form. Okay, so first let's take our a. Our a, as you can see, is this. So this is this inside. So our a is 2 square root of 2. And our b is our b is 1, as you can see. So a minus b, so 2 square root of 2 minus 1, and this is squared. And now we have a good term which can fit under our square root, okay? We simplified our first term under the square root, right? So now let's do the same with the second. Okay, so I already took out the term from under the square root just to make it easier to work with, just for now. And let's try to get this 9 minus 12 square root of 2 plus 8 into this form, a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, so 9, can we find the square root of that to make it squared? Yes, we can. Square root of 9 is 3. So that means 3 would be our a. 12 square root of 2. So we want to have it in terms of, we need to have a 2 here. So let's factor out a 2. And that will give us 6 square root 2, right? Because we took out the 2 from 12. So we'll still have to work with that later. And now plus 8. I could just do square root of 8, but remember last time we already solved for 8. We already simplified the square root of 8. So I'm going to just use that exact same number that we used last time, which was 2 square root of 2 squared. We want to get our a's and b's matching, so we want to get an a here and a b here, okay? So how do we do that? Well, we can do that by factoring out from this a 2 square root of 2. So remember, we always need to have this 2 here. It's part of the equation. What if we take out 2 square root 2? It will leave this, so the square root 2 will cancel, and 6 divided by 2. It will give us a 3 here. So this 3 matches our a here, which is good. And then a 2 square root 2, which matches our b here. Okay? So now let's add the b. So now we have 3 as our a and 2 square root of 2 is in b, as you can see here. So now let's put this into this equation. So our a is 3. 3 minus 2 square root of 2 squared. Okay, so now we have our simplified insides written down, so simplified terms. And now, as you know, square roots and squares cancel out. So basically, if you get the square root of something that's squared, just take away the squared. So it's the original, so take away this squared, take away this squared, which will leave us 2 square root 2 minus 1 plus 3 minus 2 root 2. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite that, or no. We can already see that we're going to have some canceling out. So this 2 root 2 is positive here, while this one here is negative. Which means if we have a positive number and a negative of the same number, they're opposites, they cancel out and they make 0. Which leaves us with negative 1 plus 3. And negative 1 plus 3, as you all know, is 2. So 2 is our final answer. Okay, so from all of this, we got 2. Alright, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and see you next time. Bye.